Welcome to She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. I'm your host, Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and this podcast are the audio versions of my live Q&A chats on YouTube. If you'd like to be part of the live Q&A chats, come on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. I'm live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST. We talk about voiceover, the business of voiceover, audiobooks, and so much more. Find more information on my website, voiceoverangela.com. Enjoy today's episode. Hello. Just making sure everything's working. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for the live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channels, I share with you tips, tricks, techniques, and things that I do every day in my own voiceover business. And then we get together in these weekly chats to talk about a topic or two. We'll see how it goes, as usual. If you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll. And that is pretty much the topic for today. Now that we're approaching the end of the year, how would I restart audiobooks? If I wanted to get into audiobook narration today, or the first day, January 1st, let's just say. I'm getting sidetracked already. 1st of January, what would I do? What would I do from today? So today's poll is, what's the biggest challenge you face in audiobook production right now? Because the purpose of these live streams is, of course, to help you, for those of you that are just getting started, to move forward. We want to try to, when I say we, the community that joins here as well, we want to try to help to remove those obstacles, those blocks, whether they be, something tangible, mental. Most of the time it's a mental block, right? Something that we tell ourselves to hold us back. We want to move you guys forward. So tell me, and everyone else watching, what is the biggest obstacle for you? What is the biggest challenge that you face in audiobook production right now? And on YouTube, the poll is there. So we have lots of votes. We had 29 votes so far. 24% of you said finding consistent narration work. 21% of you said marketing myself or standing out. 28% of you said editing, production, taking too long. It's pretty common. 28% of you said not knowing where to start. Okay, so it sounds like we have a good chunk of you that have not started yet. So we'll see if we can eliminate some of those blocks for you or answer some of the questions that you have. And if you do have questions, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok today. So if you have questions, please post them. That's the purpose of these live streams. Not you guys, so you guys can laugh at my tangents or anything. Well, if you want to laugh at that's fine. Whichever way I'm entertaining, hopefully. Wow. Look, we got a lot more votes. Oh, votes are changing. Oh boy. Okay, it's pretty much an even split between the four. So finding consistent work, marketing yourself, editing, and not knowing where to start. Okay, so what I want to touch on first, and then we'll get over to the comments, is why audiobook narration in 2026 is going to be a little bit different than I think what we've experienced as established narrators in the last few years, is that there's going to be a few more hats that you're going to have to wear. And one of them is not marketing, but I think incorporating other skills in addition to, or learning new skills and incorporating them in addition to learning the basics of audiobook narration in and of itself. And what I mean by that is not only do we have to market, but we should also learn how to at least do the bare minimum basic video editing. I think that is something that you're definitely going to want to learn. If you're Gen X and my age group, you might not have any video editing experience. And I think now is the time to at least learn the basics of that. There's tons of free video editing software out there that you can use. And I've done a few different videos about the different selections that you have, but and there's a lot of free ones too that come along with a lot of the social media platforms that we already use. I mean, there's CapCut, there's I think TikTok has their own video editing software, and I think Instagram may as well. YouTube, I know, YouTube Studio, you can edit videos there. But I say that because incorporating video, let me backstep. Video is what everybody's looking at these days, whether it is 5-second, 7-second, 30-second, longer informational videos. This is what everybody's looking at. That's where all the eyeballs are. So to promote yourself and to market yourself, learning how to do the very basics of video editing is really going to help you. You can publish on social media platforms what you're working on, what you've already done, your demos, things of that nature. But it is the best way, the fastest way to market yourself and to sort of stand out, right? Because as we've said before, you could have the best audio gear. You could have the best microphone interface. You could have the best recording space. You could have your performances down. But if nobody knows who you are, or where you are, or that you're even available as an audiobook narrator, it does you no good. You have to market yourself. You have to market yourself. And there's also more indie authors now, more production studios. And I think social media is the best way to reach out to them. Now, you can cold email and you can cold call and do all of those things too. But I think social media is what everybody's looking at anyway. So you might as well be present there, right? Stay in eye line, the eyesight. What are some other things that I wanted to touch on? What I would do, for those of you not knowing where to start, I would start with which you're probably already in the research phase, meaning you're watching me on YouTube, you're watching other people, you're also watching other audiobook narrators and voice actors on all the different social media platforms. Get as much information as you can, but don't allow yourself to be stuck in that procrastinating stage. Don't allow yourself to get stuck there. You have to take the step forward. And I think the easiest way to move forward is to purchase the gear, or at the very least, decide where you're going to build or create your recording space. And it doesn't have to be a room. It could be a section of your room. But the most important thing is to make sure that it's going to be a dedicated place where you can record your audiobooks, your voiceovers, meaning once you have it set up, you don't want to have to touch it. Once you have it tested for sound, you could do the clap test to see if there's any echo in the space. Treat it accordingly, meaning that there are, soft surfaces around you, and then get the gear and then, test it and things like that. But the most important thing, especially for audiobook narration, is sound consistency. So once you have that recording space dialed in, you've got the gear, you've got the sound down, you don't want to have to touch anything, right? The most important thing, I think, first is for you to be comfortable. This is what I tell my mentees all the time. The most important factor in your recording space is for you to be comfortable. So move your chair wherever you're going to sit and record, put that in its place first, and then move everything else to you. So position your monitor from where your chair sits, your microphone from where your chair sits, on and on and on. That way you are sitting comfortably for every file, every order, every audiobook file. Everything is going to be consistent. The proximity from the mic is going to be the same, right? The walls don't change around you, meaning that you're not closer to this wall in chapter 1, you were further away in chapter 5, right? Those sound, those small little changes in your space can be noticeable. So make sure that your recording space is dialed in first. And the audio gear that you choose doesn't have to be expensive. I've got a couple ideas tagged in my products thing down in the description if you're watching on YouTube. But they don't have to be expensive. You can get your gear secondhand, right? I admittedly started with a Blue Yeti microphone. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Your space, your recording space, is much more important than the microphone or anything else that you choose, equipment-wise. But your recording environment is your number one priority. And then once you have all of that, then what I would do, and what I did, was I started on ACX. Actually, I started with LibriVox volunteering narration first, just as sort of like I hate to call it practice, but that's essentially what it was. I wanted to make sure that I could sustain long form narration, because it is a workout. It's more of a workout than you think it is. Getting the file requirements down, the formatting down, and just to kind of dip my toes in to see if this was something that I wanted to continue to invest my time into, at time and money, right? If this was something that I could do. And once I discovered that I still enjoyed it and everything turned out fine, then I moved to ACX. And as we always say, just a side note, ACX is only one platform. There are tons of different ways or avenues in which you can find audiobook work, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But I started on ACX because it was the easiest. It's a platform, it's an Amazon platform, and that is where narrators and authors can come together, can find each other, essentially, to create audiobooks for Audible. So the way that it's structured, it's pretty easy to use. It's pretty easy to use and navigate. So I started there, but again, there are a bunch of others. And then I branched out to Fiverr and Upwork. And don't underestimate the power of these freelance marketplaces. You can be hired for audiobook work anywhere, just about anywhere, everywhere. It doesn't have to be solely ACX, and I think a lot of people get confused with that. The ACX standard for the file requirements is just sort of what we refer to as audiobook file requirements. It's a certain set of standards that the sample rate has to be at a certain rate. The bit depth has to be at a certain depth. You know, there are certain standards that you have to adhere to, but it doesn't mean that they can only go to ACX. If you can get to those standards for your files, you can create audiobooks anywhere and then send the files to your client, and then they upload them to whatever audiobook distributor they want to. So if someone contacts you on Fiverr or Upwork or somewhere else directly, even, because they found you on social media and they reached out to you, you send the files to them. So ACX is not the only platform. After you set up your, see, I'm already on tangents and I'm going all over the place. I hope you're following along, but ask your questions if you want to. We'll get to the questions in a minute. I want to make sure I get all this out. After you have your recording space set, then produce a few short demos. I would focus on the genres that you enjoy reading, because that enjoyment, that joy, that's going to come through naturally in your performance. So if you like reading romantasy, if you like reading history or not documentaries, but what are they? Like biography, memoir, stuff like that, fiction, nonfiction, doesn't matter. Whatever you enjoy reading personally, focus on creating demos that are of the same genre to start. I would have at least three different genres. And then you could also compile those into one demo. So you could have 3 different demos, one of each genre or tone, right? And then have like a demo reel, which is a combination of the 3. And then, as I said before, create little videos for them and post them all over social media. Have a YouTube channel, at the very least, for video storage. Right? You don't have to make content if you don't want to, but at least start a YouTube channel so you can store these videos on. It's easier to just copy the YouTube link and share that, right? Or to download the videos, or, just to have them there, just as a side note. I know I'm all over the place, so just ask your questions. And again, don't overlook Fiverr and Upwork. I've done a lot of business for audiobooks there, respectively. Let's see. Touch on Fiverr really quick. I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to forget anything because I tend to do that. But touching on Fiverr really quick, if you create an audiobook gig on Fiverr, use the voiceover category. Don't use the audiobook production category. That category is still it's structured more for post-production, not so much for the full production, including voiceover. I've tested my own audiobook gig in both categories multiple times, and I've always found more traction on the voiceover category for my audiobook gig. But the main difference between regular voiceover gigs and audiobook gigs is that, of course, audiobooks are priced per finished hour. So you have to make sure that your audiobook gig, the final price in your word calculator for 9,300 words equals your per finished hour rate. And that might take a little bit of mathing and trial and error, but that's how you want to structure your pricing on Fiverr. And keep in mind that your gig titles on Fiverr are much more important than your description, much more important than your tags. Your tags are, they are important, but your gig title is more important for searchability, SEO, than your tags or your description are. There is the opportunity now on Fiverr to work for hourly rates, right? Some clients may want to suggest that you work on the hourly rate side for Fiverr. For audiobooks, don't do that because you'll be shortchanging yourself. Stick with per finished hour rates. Let's see. Audio quality. If you have questions about your voice, your space, your gear, whatever it is, join groups. Join peer groups like Launchpad, at least a Facebook group that's for audiobook narrators that allows demo feedback or anything like that, because you want to, I just want to throw this in there. You want to not get used to bad habits, if that makes sense. If you start narrating and then you think you're producing something of quality, but there's an echo in the background, but you're just used to hearing it and you don't realize that it's there and it could be a problem, then, getting feedback from other people, a second pair of ears or a third pair of ears on it, to tell you, hey, there's an echo in the background. You're like, oh my God, I'm just so used to hearing it. I didn't even know it was there, right? So getting feedback on your audio quality periodically is definitely going to improve your chances of getting work going forward. Cold emails. If you're perusing around Amazon, and you can do this, or if you find somebody on social media, an author on social media, that you enjoy their work and you want to reach out to them directly, first do a little research and see if they have an audiobook version of the book that you're interested in producing. And you can reach out to them directly, either via their author page on Amazon, or you can reach out to them on social media and ask them if they have a version of their print copy already in production for an audiobook. And if not, why not? Right? Why you think it would be in their best interest to do that. Again, audiobook popularity is growing year after year after year. And I think it's pretty much standard now to have a tangible print copy that you can buy, a Kindle version, and an audiobook version for every book out there. So if they don't already have an audiobook version of their book, you should definitely suggest it. And I actually have a template that you can use. This is just a quick 4-sentence cold email template that you can kind of get an idea of. And those on Instagram and TikTok, I apologize, you guys can't see it, but on YouTube, it basically says subject line, audiobook for book title, ? Hello, author name. I've been following your book, your series, and noticed you don't have an audiobook version yet. I am a narrator slash producer who specializes in this genre. And I'd love to create a short free sample for your book so you can hear how it would sound. If you're open to it, I can send the sample and a simple production plan this week. Either way, congratulations on your success with book title. It's clearly resonating with readers. Simple. Fast, simple, and believe it or not, it works. I mean, some sort of variation of this is ideal, short, sweet, to the point. I would definitely be sure that you know a little bit about the book or the series, right? Because, you don't want to just shotgun. I think that's just poor taste. But I mean, ultimately, it's a sales move is to reach out to a bunch of authors. But I think in all transparency, I think it's a little bit more genuine if it comes across as such, right? If you actually have an understanding of what you're talking about. Does that make sense? I feel like I took a couple left turns there. Par for the course on my channel, right? Let's see what else. Marketing plans. I think we touched on that a little bit. I think social media content is definitely where you're going to want to spend most of your time marketing your services. Create all the profiles on all the freelance marketplaces. Google all of the independent or smaller publishing houses to see if they have a spot on their roster. Do all of that, but at the same time, also get onto social media. Choose the platform that you have the most traction on, the one that you enjoy making content for, and decide how many posts you're going to make a week, what they're going to be of. And they don't all have to be voiceover or audiobook related. You can share a little bit about your personal life. Again, I'm walking the dog. This is the salad that I made for lunch, whatever kind of content you want. And I think that's good because it shows the watcher, the potential client, what kind of a person you are, that you're just an everyday Joe, but you make audiobook production, you make audiobooks. But having a marketing plan is going to help you with accountability, right? So if you decide that you're going to make 3 posts a week, 3 posts a day, whatever you want to do. And I think another question I get is about like when or how do I make content? What you could do is record yourself creating a demo, right? You're narrating something in the public domain, even if you wanted to, and record yourself like 15 minutes of it, and then take 5 minutes of it, 5 minutes of it, 5 minutes of it. There's 3 posts right there. Just cut it into 3 and then, post those at different times of the week. We make things more complicated than they need to be, right? We definitely make things more complicated than they need to be. Let's see, what else do we want to touch on? Oh, mistakes. Mistakes that I have made. I think in the beginning for me was severely undervaluing myself in the beginning. I looked at audiobook narration through ACX in the beginning as paid internship. I was still learning. I didn't want to charge someone full price for what I thought was my own ignorance and my own, lack of experience. But in truth, at that point, I had more training, I had the gear, I had experience, I had all of the things that made me a professional voice actor and audiobook producer, and I wasn't asking for what I was worth in the beginning. Like, it took me a long time to increase my prices between price bumps. And I say that, and you guys will, yeah, but I got to start somewhere. I need the social proof, and I get that. I'm just telling you what I feel was a mistake in the beginning, but of course, do what you want to. But don't stay at like once you've produced 15 books, don't stay at $50 per finished hour. Increase your prices, right? Don't undercut yourself. Over editing, I think, is something that we also fall victim to in the beginning. Because again, we watch all of these people on social media, YouTube, all of these how-tos, and then we have voice actors and audiobook narrators talking about removing breaths and taking out mouth noise and extensive pauses and so on and so forth. And then we get that in our head that we need to do this, we need to do that, and this is bad. And then we over edit our audiobook files. Less is more, right? In terms of taking out stuff. Take out your retakes if you are, in the clicker team, or, punch and roll, do whatever you're going to do. But to react to chats, I'm sorry, something just caught my attention. Squirrel. Remove the retakes, remove the mistakes, but my God, don't go through and remove every single breath. Don't adjust every single pause. Don't over edit. Less is more on an audiobook production. Make sure that the files meet the formatting standards, absolutely 100%. But remember that audiobooks are humans telling other humans a story or relaying information. We're reading a book. It doesn't have to be, every sentence is exactly the same, length between, of a pause between each sentence or something. Like, don't get that into your head. Just read the book and allow those natural pauses to just land where they are, I guess. I don't know what else to say about that, but yeah, I see, a lot of people overthinking the timing of edits, for sure. I did it too. And what happens is when you're adjusting every pause or cutting out longer pauses, try to make them all equal, then you'll have an audiobook. If you listen back to it, it's a super fast narration. It's way too fast because we forget that the listener cannot read the book along with us. I mean, they can in some places like WhisperSync. But if they can't see the words, they're relying on us to tell the story. So we have to read it at a normal pace, almost a slower than normal pace, because we're not just reading the book for us, we're reading it for someone else to follow along. So we almost have to slow down, I think, maybe 25%, so the listener's brain can keep up with what we're saying. And those dramatic pauses do make a difference, and I think they should be left in. So don't over edit. Don't over edit. I think I would also, if I had to start over, I would market myself right out the gate. I took way too long to market myself. So having a social media plan and posting and connecting with other authors, other narrators for dual and duets, right? For referrals, all of that stuff, it would definitely help you out in the beginning. I didn't do that soon enough. You also don't have to take every contract or job offer that's given to you. If you don't want to do it, you're not connecting with material, it makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. Don't do it. That was something else that I was like, now I'm a little more discerning. But back then I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I hated my choices after I decided I was going to do it. Let's see, what else? I think we pretty much touched on everything. If you have a question about something that maybe I was too vague on or something that I might have skipped over, if there's something particular that you want to know about, then definitely ask. Again, that's what these live chats are for. So ask your questions. I think let's go over to, let's just check Instagram really quick. Katya says, so good to be back here after so long. Hope everyone had a relaxing and satiated Thanksgiving. Big Motion Books is here. What software do we recommend? For recording, I use Adobe Audition. That is what I use. Let's go over to the TikToks. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for the like. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for the likes on TikTok. I appreciate you. Let's see if I have any questions on TikTok. Let's see. Sounds like lit video books. Yeah. I mean, and if you're on TikTok and you're a narrator, go live while you're narrating. My God. I have seen so many success stories with narrators narrating live on TikTok. Pamela, I love that you were skating. That might have been an autocorrect gone bad. I haven't skated in forever. Marcus says, I got my first one-on-one with the VO coach. I'm very excited. Good for you. Good training. I think I would definitely start out sooner than later too, because there's a lot that you don't know that you don't know. And having someone to tell you what you should know is definitely advantageous. Alexia says, do you have any Facebook groups you recommend for demo feedback to avoid starting bad habits? My Facebook group, the VO Workshop on Facebook, I allow feedback on demos. You can also have, you can also join a VO's Journey Academy. It is the voiceover academy that I am a coach for. Our Discord has a thread for feedback, and we also read live for each other in different classes, so you can definitely get feedback there too. Let's see if there was any other questions on TikTok really quick. Thank you, everyone on TikTok. Mr. Lunaire, I can't see it. It's very opaque. Glad to see you here. Been following you on Facebook for close to 3 years. Much love from Kenya. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone on TikTok. Okay, we got quite a few comments. I'll come back to Instagram and TikTok here momentarily. We got tons of comments on YouTube. So Sean Tyler was here. Good morning, all from blustery Nashville. I've had so many recent issues. I almost feel like I'm starting over. I'm on a country road that is adjacent to a major road through town. It's always been noisy with traffic, but I've learned to deal, so it's not an issue. Lately, though, 2 businesses on the road are being built. All that construction noise has increased my editing 3 times. That stinks. Also, anyone know how to fix my username? It doesn't show me as Abe Froman anymore. Weird. Still shows up at that my profile. Google is no help. It's hard to say. I mean, there's been so many different changes on so many different it's almost too hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up. Caesar, I see you on YouTube. Are you on TikTok? Caesar. Oh, hi, Angela. So I didn't know which option to pick because we're starting to see a pattern here. LOL. But I decided on marketing because I'm deliberately pausing on that until I finish all my work. Yeah, Caesar, you sort of just took right off. Deservedly so. Sean says, or Abe, says, I picked editing taking too long, but that's only because of my above-mentioned issues. And that's tough. I mean, you might have to only go into audiobook production mode once all the crews are gone, you know, with all the construction and things. You might have to change your production schedule a little bit. Caesar says, I'll jump back in 2026 and have big plans as a solo narrator, sound engineer, and duet partner with Rebecca. We'll be marketing the snot out of ourselves. For now, I'm taking a back seat. That said, hello, everyone. Nothing exciting to report. I continued to figure out the processing chains of big audiobook houses. Of course you did. For 2 reasons. For myself and for my FX Racks clients. My version 2 FX Racks are something else. I can say that with 100% confidence. Publishing house gold standard. Wouldn't expect anything less from you, Caesar. Hannah is here. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Angela, and everyone else. I've missed you guys. Great topic today, but so hard to choose between the poll options. I'm struggling with all of them, except not knowing where to start. But I chose marketing myself and standing out because, number 1, I think it's closely related to finding narration work, and 2, I don't really enjoy that even though marketing is such a vital thing. There was something that just caught my attention, something else that I wanted to touch on, and thank you for reminding me. Making yourself stand out. There was another comment that I saw on YouTube this morning about trying to stand out amongst hundreds of thousands of other narrators. And I think what we forget is that the author, the client, whoever we're soliciting our services to, They have a preference. They have, if it's an audiobook, let's just say, for example, they have a particular voice in their head, probably as they were writing the book. They had an idea of how they wanted it to sound. So if they come across your audition, and regardless of your performance, your audio quality, you thought you nailed it, if you're not the voice that they had in their head, they're not going to hire you. Has nothing to do with you or the other competition, right? You can't look at it that way. You just weren't the voice they were looking for. So this is where we need to audition more. Audition, audition, audition. Because the more you audition, the more chances you have to cross paths with someone who is looking for your voice. So if you're not chosen for a job, you cannot take it personally. It has nothing to do with you personally. You just weren't the voice they were looking for. But there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of other authors that are. You just need to find them. And to do that, you need to audition. You need to reach out. You need to market yourself so they can find you, right? So just keep going. Don't let the number of narrators out there scare you or turn you off. Don't even look at them as competition, because they're not. Everybody's voice is unique. Your narration style, your voice, your setup, everything, your perception, your, life experience. You have a different take than anyone else. Everyone is unique in that respect. That's what I wanted to touch on. Ken is here. Hello, Ken. Greetings from snowy-ish Alberta. I know I take too long with production, though that is improving, and always a challenge to find work, especially when you're part-time, other job, and family. And I totally get that, too. What I did when I was employed full-time, I would set a goal. As I'm always telling you guys, it really is this simple. 5 auditions a day, 3 auditions a day, whatever it is, just do it. Right? The work will come. Consistency is the biggest factor here in all of these aspects. Sales in general, business in general, consistency is key. You have to make yourself a plan, set some goals, and stick to them. It will come with time. Your efforts will pay off. It might be tomorrow. It might be next month. It might be next year. But consistency is key. You just have to keep going. Keep going. My cup of tea says, morning, y'all. Hope you are well. Doing fantastic. It snowed and it looks great outside. I do sometimes feel stuck and unsure where to go, but that's partly from not planning well, which I'm actively working on. Good. Oh, I think I might have missed Hannah's announcement. I am super excited. I think it's a great one to start with. Only 54 pages, but I think I missed. There we go. That's the one I was looking for. I wanted to share that I got my first audiobook. Congratulations, Hannah. That's fantastic. Surprisingly, not what I expected, because I got it from an Estonian publisher, and I will be going to a studio to read it, and then they will edit. I mean, it works, right? Congrats. Shauna says, hello from snowy Minnesota. I have been relying on ACX too much and need to expand my marketing and find consistent work. So both are definite goals for 2026. I completed my first book and maybe in June, but nothing but rejection since then, hoping to change that in 2026. They're not rejections. That's another thing. Don't look at you not getting the job as a rejection. You're not rejected. You're just not the voice they were looking for. Not rejection. Sean says, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Yes, please. I appreciate that. It really does help. I mean, and it's free. Just hit all the buttons. Do all the YouTube-y, TikTok-y, Instagram-y things. I appreciate that. Alicia says, hello, everyone. Hello, Alicia. Tess is here. Hey, Tess. Hey, y'all from Dracula. Remember that. Great topic today. Marketing, by far. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Sean says 21 viewers and 2 likes. Come on, we can do better than that. Now we're up to 54 viewers on YouTube alone. Yes, do all the buttons. Hit all the buttons. Hit all the buttons. Do all the things. I appreciate you. I think I saw, was there a question on TikTok? Ashley said, any resources you'd recommend to learn how to set up for going live on TikTok? Wow. I just learned how to do this myself just recently, actually. I had to get, sorry if it's noisy, but I just got the lavalier mic from Amazon. It was a Boya. It was like $30, $40 or something. And then just kind of played with it until I figured it out. But don't really need like a setup. But I think if you have, now I think I'm with you. So if you want to do TikTok on like for live streaming, you can download, there's an app that you can download for your desktop that you can go live from. I just don't do that because I use StreamYard. But you can go live from that and it should be able to use your webcam and your studio microphone. If that's what you're asking. Let's see. Was there any other questions on TikTok? No, there's not. Thank you guys again for all the likes. I appreciate it. Alexander says, good afternoon from Syracuse, New York. Good afternoon to you. Kat is here. Hey, Kat. Good morning from Washington. Rebecca. Good morning, all. I chose finding consistent work. My current pattern seems to be, look at all this work, to where'd everybody go? Maybe it's just the holidays? It could be. It could be. There's been a couple years for me where December was the most lucrative month of the year. But again, as a business owner, especially in this kind of industry, it's going to fluctuate month to month to month. But I think the most important thing to do is to keep marketing and to keep auditioning. Right? But yeah, I think it's just the holidays. For sure. Joy says, good afternoon, Angela and company from the heart of the polar vortex in Southfield, Michigan. Cold, Joy? Jason says, good morning, Angela and my fellow voiceover friends. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Excited for today's lesson. I hope it was entertaining at the very least so far. Alexander says, you're the boss, Angela. Love that show. Oh, that's right. I forgot about who's the boss, right? Who's the boss? Review Exchange Group says, not marketing. The big issue remains authors not realizing the importance of doing some marketing themselves. In the audiobook world, indie authors and narrators are at a disadvantage, need to do more. Yeah, and I think that is why reaching out to them directly, looking for books on Amazon, just to make it simple. If you look for a certain genre on Amazon and you're flipping through books and you see they don't, maybe it's a debut novel for a new indie author and they don't have an audiobook version of their book yet, and it's something that you think that you would enjoy making, then reach out to them, right? And that kind of stuff will also encourage that author and to go, oh yeah, maybe we should do that. And then we can market the book, and the audiobook coming out and it's all good things. We all forget to market ourselves, not just us, but the authors do as well. Thank you, Caesar. Aw. Thank you so much, Caesar, for all the goodies. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, Caesar, thank you. Squirrel. Okay. Alexander says, question, does CapCut have rights to your project for their own needs? That's a great question. Does anybody know the answer to that? Caesar. Thank you. Kimberly says, good morning, all. My biggest challenge right now is actually just carving out enough time for the work. Day job cuts in a lot, so it's difficult to juggle sometimes, have to be strategic with time. And it's going to take the time that it's going to take. I totally feel you on that. I think, as I say, when I was employed full time, I was pretty much working 60 plus hours a week, some weekends sometimes when there was an inventory day, so I had to sacrifice a little bit of time with my family. I had to sacrifice a little bit of time, that would have been allotted for sleep. But just remember that it's temporary. As long as your why to do this in the beginning, to start, is strong enough to carry you through all of these obstacles. Thank you, Caesar. You guys are amazing. As long as your why is strong enough to keep you through, to work you through all of these obstacles, then you know that your end goal is to do this full time, and then you will have more time with whatever it is that you sacrificed before, if that makes sense. Rebecca says, and yes, Caesar and I are working on a whole marketing plan as duet partners. That's awesome. You guys should. I'm excited for 2026 and the more consistent work it will bring. Manifesting works, right? It do. Katya says, happy to be back here after so long. Donuts for all. I love it. Colleen is here. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Angela. Hello, all. So happy to be here. I'm having a slump on ACX since I only auditioning for per finished hour budgets. I just keep auditioning. What I recommend, or have recommended, I don't know if I told you this, Colleen, specifically, but when you're searching for books to narrate or produce on ACX, use minimum filtering. Because you know how you can select different filters for, project length, project budget, all of that stuff. Keep it minimal. Only click the filter boxes for your gender, maybe your age, your voice age, and language. That's it. And just see what else comes up. Because there's a lot for the budget. There's going to be unspecified. There's a lot of unspecified. So they're not sure what it should be. They're looking for you as the professional to tell them how much it's going to be, right? So you can ask about royalty share plus, or per finished hour books. And don't knock royalty share. Royalty share, those can add up. Just, choose them wisely. Choose evergreen topics or topics that you think are trending or that you're interested in. And that if the author is also marketing or planning to market the book, you as a narrator can also market the book, but don't overlook royalty share books. They do add up. They can be lucrative if you go about it right. Review Exchange Group says, indie authors hope their books will sell, but a minority of mine are even successful at giving away all the free books ACX Audible gives us. Right. We have all the tools we need. More now than ever to make this easy to do. Marketing. And we don't use the tools. Why? Fear. Fear of just trying something new, or maybe we just don't know they exist. So that's another reason why I do these live chats, is to kind of throw this stuff into your face. So you go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Or I didn't know about that. Now I can start incorporating that. Right? Thank you, Caesar, thank you for all the gifts. My God. Ashley says, do you typically let I just hit too many buttons, let the author know you're interested in helping them market their book yeah. Especially if it's royalty share. They're probably going to want to know that you already have a marketing plan in place. Just like we want to know the author has a marketing plan in place, they want the same from you. So having an idea, at least, of how to go about marketing the book is going to be a plus. Kimberly says, to Rebecca, yes, manifest the crap out of that. Can I manifest more hours in a day? I wish. Caesar says to Kimberly, you can always move to Europa, which is Jupiter's moon, and has 85 Earth hours in a day. Breathing might be an issue, though. Tanya's here. Hey, Tanya. Evening, all. I brought apple cinnamon pastries and spiced ginger lattes. Dear Lord, that sounds good. I put marketing, as that's my focus at the moment, finding new avenues for voiceover everywhere. Going back, I'd start sooner. Dantastic Guy says, do you use ACX standards for all your recordings? Only for audiobooks. Not for voiceover. Just audiobooks. Grant says, hello from New York. Hope you all having a fantastic day. So far, so good. Hannah says, also another part of big news. I still can't believe that it's becoming a reality, but I am moving to LA in January. Is this real? Going to an acting conservatory. But this also means that I get to start using ACX. I can't express how excited all that makes me. I hope my heart doesn't burst. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Hannah. Hannah, you're now Hannah. You've been dubbed Hannah. I need more coffee. My brain just makes up interesting ways to say words. Katya says, I'm happy you're emphasizing the importance of your space. I started feeling like a little bit of a diva trying to get my area just right for long hours and repeated recording sessions. Your space is the most important factor of your studio, hands down. Rebecca says to Katya, I started working on my space in January 2025 and I just made some updates 2 weeks ago. I don't think we're ever really done. Nope. Never really done. You're always making tweaks. You always find, somebody might say something on YouTube or some social media platform and they go, hey, why don't you just do this? And you go, oh, why didn't I think of that? Because you didn't know. But now you did. Always changing up things and, all that stuff. Thank you, everyone on TikTok. You guys are the best. Thank you, Professor Tracy. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Oh, thank you, Steve Voiceover. You guys are amazing. Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. You guys are amazing. I love this community. So supportive and helpful. Let's see if we can find some more questions. Joy says, I agree. It's very easy to get stuck in procrastinating, but I'm trying to move forward in getting accent work. But how do you find out if my voice in a UK accent, for example, is good enough? Well, Joy, when we do readings for each other in Launchpad, we will tell you. And I think you did, didn't you, the last time you read for us? I think you tried another accent. Just keep doing that. Just getting feedback. Let's see. Sean says to Joy, without hiring a coach to check all your work, there are several AI tools to check. For instance, Bold Voice Accent Oracle. What? There's so much out there that I don't even know about. That's crazy. Review Exchange Group says, be careful on Upwork and Fiverr where someone is offering to pay, say, $20 to $30 per finished hour. Realize that not clock hours of your time. Oh, yeah. I mean, anywhere you go. I mean, in my tenure on all of these platforms, people either they just don't know how much these things cost to make or what is typical or what the pricing structures are. Some of them do. They just don't want to pay everything or a lot, or they have a very limited budget or whatever it is. But you as the business owner get to make the decision on whether or not to take the opportunity, which I always did. I always took the opportunity to educate them and to tell them, this is how audiobooks are produced, this is how they are priced, and this is why they are priced this way, right? Or you can simply say, no, thank you, right? My price is this, but thank you so much for reaching out. Eric Grimes is here. Hey, Eric. Hi, Angela, and all invaluable information today. I'm beginning to increase my social media presence. Yes, you are. I see you on TikTok all the time. I use VN. Even I can use it. Just need to learn how to maximize social media. Platinum rocks. No. Platinum was my group. I have now joined forces with Anthony Pica. We are now Launchpad. So, but yeah. Fabulous community. Caesar says to Kimberly, pretty spotty, or the Wi-Fi. Takes about 75 minutes to upload an audiobook chapter to Earth. Janelle says, hi, Angela. Hi, everyone. Love your tangents. Don't you dare stop. They help more than you know. Okay. I always say don't encourage the tangents, but you guys seem to like them, so. I'll guess I'll just keep tangenting. Let's see. Did I don't think I missed any questions on TikTok. I don't see any on Instagram. Review Exchange Group says something I'm testing shortly, library or civic group talks, either about how an audiobook is made or perhaps the content of your narrated book. Give away free review book codes there. I love that. If you guys have if you have some way to market that is helpful or that works for you, share it. Don't keep that stuff to yourself. Share it. Either share it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Share it with others and help your brothers and sisters out. My God. Hannah says to Janelle, I agree. Those tangents are invaluable. Never heard Angela have a not helpful tangent. All right. Hannah says, I wish YouTube had the feature to react to chats. I'm sure they will at some point. I'm sure they will. Emily says, I've had a bad habit of overthinking timing edits. Oh, yes, same. Same. I can bet you a good portion of people in watching have done the same. So you're not alone in that. It's very typical. We do it. We overprocess, overthink. It's a very normal thing. Paul says, I agree that pricing yourself too low is a mistake. It's not just you that's the victim. It drives down prices across the whole marketplace, and we all suffer. Hello, everyone on TikTok. Rebecca says, to Review Exchange Group, correct. In case someone doesn't know, per finished hour equals per finished hour. A 2-hour finished book at $30 per finished hour is $60 for you. And that two-hour finished book, in reality, especially in the beginning, could take you 10 hours to produce. So for 10 hours of your time, you made $60. And I think those kinds of offers are probably people targeting newer people that don't yet understand the ROI, right? Audiobooks are priced a certain way for a reason, because they take time. They take a lot of effort and a lot of time. Review Exchange Group says, I like your advice that newbies focusing on voiceover work rather than audiobooks. Better pay, much faster, less technical hassles, no ACX standards, quick pay. Oh, for sure. I mean, if you narrate audiobooks and you want to get into voiceover, that's a whole other animal, right? Today we were focusing on audiobooks, but last week we talked about voiceover in general. And yeah, voiceovers can be, of course, they're going to be much shorter projects and you can, make money a little bit faster on them. Audiobooks today are a little bit more time consuming. So we wanted to talk about audiobooks today, but for sure, do both. I do both. Do both. Alexander says, question, have you ever had an interview with a publisher so we can hear what they're looking for? I've never had an interview with a publisher. It's usually been, hey, do you have room on your roster? And then, here's a demo. And then they go, yep, yeah, here we go. There hasn't been like an interview process that I've experienced. And they'll usually tell you on whatever contact us form, or they'll usually give you something to fill out in lieu of the interview, I'm guessing. But I'm sure all it comes down to is, do they want a voice like yours on their roster? Is your audio quality good enough to be on their roster? Do you have any kind of creds? Do they want you on their roster in terms of what have you done? Do you have any, I don't want to say star power. Forget that tangent. But no, I have never had an interview per se. Sean to Caesar says, what was that interface that can eliminate low frequency noise before it ever gets recorded that you told me about? Was it the SSD MK2? I'm sure Caesar has a reply for you. Hannah says, dance class calling. Enjoy your dance class, Hannah. Review Exchange Group says, training. Don't discount taking free or almost free speech classes at local community colleges. Hang on, I got to do the puzzle thing on TikTok. So we've been on for an hour. Great help for technique and confidence. Red Fez Lad says, finally able to catch you live. Well, welcome. Still in the research practice phase, but feedback so far has been great. Almost ready to take the leap into Fiverr and ACX. Good. Just keep moving forward. It doesn't matter how big or little those steps are. It's still progress. Still progress. Emily says, thank you so much, Angela, for this lovely resource. So I got frustrated dealing with an AI garbage book and author, so I said, screw it, and wrote my own books. Good for you. Is that a viable? Yes. I love it when authors narrate their own books, but not all of them are up to the task because it's a lot of work, right? Or maybe they just don't like the way that their voice sounds, or whatever the reasoning is. But I love it when authors narrate their own books. And you get to keep all those royalties to yourself. Yeah. Caesar says, when I write my stories, books coming soon, all my male protagonists sound like me. I wonder why. So I guess I'm kind of the obvious choice for my own books. Makes the auditioning process much easier. Mm-hmm. Emily says to supplement other VO work and build a brand and catalog. Of course. Of course. Let's see. Do we have any questions? Let's see. Dantastic Guy says, do you do all of your recordings set to ACX standards? Only audiobooks. Only audiobooks. Colleen says, thank you, Angela. You are tops. You are tops. All of you watching, there's 50 of you on YouTube, and I don't know how many on Instagram and TikTok, but you guys are all tops. Need some Angela inspiration, really hit a slump. Those slumps are tough. The best thing you can do is to choose something small to start to climb out of that slump hole. Because you're not going to have the energy or be in the mind frame to do anything large to get out of that slump hole. So choosing something small, and then once you accomplish that little step, then you can say, oh, that was easy. Or maybe you're just done for the day after that one little thing. But the point is that you have to do something to start to climb out of that little slump, or you'll get stuck there. Caesar says, fun thing I realized, I got this from narrator Damian Knight, having an impeccably treated space can make you incompatible for duets with narrators in less treated spaces, which can be a pain. That's a good point. Let's see. Questions. Shauna says, you mentioned you don't use ACX standards for VO, non-audiobook. What do you use for standards? I mean, not really standards per se. I think my sample rates are most of the time 48,000 with a bit depth of a 24. And then as long as your noise floor isn't audible, right? You don't want to hear in the background. You want to make sure that that they're quiet enough. And then I normalize to -3, and then I send it as a wave. Unless the client has asked me for something specific. I do have clients that asks the files, wants the files. Good Lord. I do have clients that ask me for 96,000 sample rate with a 24-bit and then completely raw. No compression, no effects, no nothing. So it's going to be, it might be different for some clients, but that's basically what I use. Emily says, slump hole sounds like a Victorian insult. I'm here for it. Slump hole. Coined it. What do you guys think on TikTok? Slump hole. Should we keep it? We're keeping it. We're keeping it. Let's see. Review Exchange Group says to Emily Lynn, another advantage of having at least one book on Amazon as an author is the Author Central page. You can do lots of marketing off of it. Huge advantage. Audible does not give narrator page. Slump hole. Brian says, what are your thoughts on the IsoVox 2 and the ISO mic? Is the IsoVox, is that one of those like boxes that you stick your head into? Is that what that is? The IsoVox, if I'm not mistaken? I have seen arguments from some of my mentees that they don't have the ability to have a dedicated recording space. And so they have to use excuse me, like a box that their mic goes into so they can stick their head into it and sort of reflect or to keep out some of the outside noise, which is great. But then you also have any kind of other let me back up and just remind you guys that your voice is a vibration. So when you're speaking, it's going to vibrate and bounce off of anything that it has a clear path to, which is why we use soft surfaces in our recording spaces, because it will absorb it, not reflect it, meaning bounce off, causing echo. So those boxes are, I think, a great idea in theory. I wouldn't use one because it's only reflecting or denying access directly around the mic. But if you lose track of where your head is and you're not in the box and you're out here and you're doing your thing and, you're going to have a little bit of that echo escape around and outside the box. You're much better off just treating your entire space. Choose a spot that you can comfortably narrate in and make your narration station. And use that. And then use that consistently across all of your work. You're much better off just taking the investment of that same amount of money that you're paying for the ISOVox, if that's what that is, and just using that to treat the walls, floor, ceiling of the space around you. You'll get a much better result. Yeah. Okay. Caesar says, okay, so the ISOVox and the ISOmic can work as a pair. The ISOmic, I think, rolls off a lot of lows, but you don't get low end buildup when talking inside the ISOVox. It can work, but you'll need a pretty good EQ curve to restore clarity and intelligibility. Thanks for throwing the stuff in it. You're welcome. You're welcome for throwing stuff in your face. Thank you, everyone on the Tiki Talkies. Thank you so much. Caesar says, oh, by the way, Angela, the ISOVox is literally a whole box that you stick your head in. It's incredibly claustrophobic, so I can't use it. But some people use it as a travel rig. I could see the ISOVox being used for that as part of your travel rig. If you're in a hotel room and you can't find like a closet or something like a blanket fort or something else to use. But I would not use it for everyday work because it just sounds so incredibly not only claustrophobic, but painful to having to stay stationary in one position with your head and you can't move around while you're recording. That just sounds incredibly uncomfortable, especially for audiobooks, because it's a marathon. You could have hours-long recording sessions. That sounds very uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. Yeah, a mobile rig maybe. Katerina says, hello all. Glad I made it in time to say hello. I'll have to watch the replay. Think we'll be joining the group today. We would love to have you. Just starting now. It's all very exciting and scary. It is. It's very exciting. It's a little bit intimidating. But this was one of the best things that I've ever done for myself. Becoming a business owner in storytelling. I'm in the business of storytelling, basically. And I love it. There's nothing better. Yes, welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. What time is it? Oh, God, that was a fast hour. Thank you for everyone who joined today on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. I will be back next week. We do these every Tuesday at 12 p.m. EST on YouTube. Most of the time on Instagram, and now starting on TikTok. So thank you so much for joining today. Again, these live streams are for you. So if there's something that you want to talk about or learn more about, then please ask me in the comments. If you're watching this in Team Replay, hit all the buttons, do all the YouTube-y things. It really does help my channel to be pushed out into the faces of people who are looking for this information. So I really appreciate it. Anything else? I think that was it. But thank you so much again, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to She Lancer Mom Entrepreneur with VoiceOver Angela. That's me. For more information about me, visit my website, voiceoverangela.com, or hop on over to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Angela. Again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.